Welcome to the 90 Degree Show, the sports center for college marching bands where we recap the ultimate battles from this weekend. And now, here's our host, the Phantom Podcaster himself, Joe Beard.
All right, y'all, we live. Welcome back to the 90 Degree Show. It's been 5 years, and really excited to get the gang back together so we can talk about what we beloved so much. I'm your host, Joe Beard. Happy to be of service for you today. Today is July 21st, 2024, 3:03 on the West Coast and 6:03 on the East Coast. We appreciate all those listening live or if you're watching the playback on one of our platforms. Again, really excited to do this. Wasn't sure if I was ever going to be doing this again, but I'm really excited to talk to the beloved family that we have here at the Marching Podcast Network. So let me just go ahead and get started. The first one in my view here is the one and only Bridget Bell. How are you doing in this podcast, Bridget?
Hey, good evening. Hey, Joe. Hello, everybody. I am doing well. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Next is the one and only owner and founder of Block Band Music and Publishing, Rashad Waters. How you doing in this podcast, man?
What it do? Are you excited? Are you ready to talk about some bands in the future and talk about life in general, Joe? Good to be back.
I am, and good to have you back. And last but not least, the one that sat on the bus and would not move for all of us to have band conversations. The one and only Reverend Dr. Christy Rosa Walker Parks. How you doing in this podcast?
Hi, I am doing great, but Joe, I don't know what to say about you. I'm not Rosa Parks. I'm Christy Walker. Hi, it's great to be back. I've missed y'all.
Missed you too. Again, just really excited to have you guys back. We do have some things to talk about, but I just wanted to get our feet wet. I got like some new equipment and new stuff, and I wanted to kind of just try some things out just to see how it's going. But it's been 5 years, so I do want to ask you guys what you have been doing. We have a couple of doctors now, just a little teaser there for the public. So I do want to hear a little bit about that because that's exciting. So Bridget, I'll go ahead and start with you. What has been going on since what was 2018, I believe? Yeah, what has been going on since then? Oh,
you muted.
You muted.
Well, I muted myself. There you go. So did we do something in 19? I feel like we've done something since 19 maybe, right?
Oh my God, 5 years. Sorry, I didn't do the math. 5, yes, 2019.
Something like that. So first of all, everybody who came out of COVID and on this side and you're upright and you're doing well, then we are grateful. So we had those COVID years, which were absolutely crazy, and they kind of put a pause on a lot of things for all of us. So I'm grateful, you guys know I'm grateful to God to just make it out. A lot of people didn't make it on the other side of COVID. Right. So I'm grateful that I made it out well and I'm okay. I am still working. I am employed. I'm excited about that. So all of you know, I was, and I'm using the word was in past tense, a band director, 21 years up until COVID year, was working in the Harford County school system. I did some other work, Morgan and other places. I did a vast amount of jobs, but as Joe already said, I finished my doctorate degree in 2020. I defended October of 2020. And, then we were right in the thick of, as I call it, COVID. And so at that time, we were teaching band online. Baby, that wasn't it. I'm telling y'all now, for me. Teaching band online was not it. So I was offered a promotional position right before I defended my district, I was offered a position to take on a specialist role in my district. And so it's kind of like admin work. And so I decided to take it. I was like, who's going to know what's going to happen after COVID? I wanted a change. And I said, being a music person, if you're a musician, you're going to play. If you're a band person, music person, you're going to be involved in music somehow. So I said, I'll take on music as a kind of more consulting work and doing some other things. So now I'm going into my 5th year as a specialist for school performance and achievement, which means I come in and take over and run buildings and help principals get themselves together. But in the meantime, my side job, I'm also adjudicating still for districts around the state of Maryland, whoever calls me. So I'll adjudicate, I do I'll do clinic work. So I'm grateful to still have my involvement directly in music. I was a part of a wonderful group of women called the Association of Black Women Band Directors. That's the organization that was founded during COVID. So as everybody was trying to bond and put it together, Dr. Myra Roden, she's out of Atlanta, phenomenal band director, just retired as well, but in Atlanta, I put this group together called the Association of Black Women Band Directors. You talking about a phenomenal group of ladies. So shout out to them to work with, to be a part of. So I came on as a board member, officer, founding member of the Association of Black Women Band Directors. So I'm able to kind of get my work in then. And then, I did some teaching, some side class, and shout out to Dr. Miguel Bonds, who was like, hey, you want to teach for Arkansas? Yeah, Arkansas Baptist. So I was able to take work, to take on some coursework teaching some courses as well. So still involved in music. My daytime 9 to 5 look a little bit different. My heart work looks a little bit different now too, because I'm also working with a wonderful nonprofit for at-risk males called Young Men on Tour. And it's a mentoring program as well. So I'm moving in different facets, but music is always my heart. And so I always come back to my root, come back to my heart. That's always an integral part of what I'm doing. So that's a short snippet of what I've been doing since our time together, since the last time we did a podcast. So yes, involved in music still. It's not my 9 to 5, but it's my 6 to 12 or whatever else you want to call it.
Well, congratulations on that. Let me give you a round of applause.
Thank you.
That's pretty exciting. And again, what's crazy is, we kind of touch base with each other throughout all of this time, but I didn't know to the degree of everything that everyone is doing. So, Bridget, you've been doing a lot, and so that's really cool. I know that we chopped it up with Bridget, and I think you were thinking about taking the position, or you just took the position. That the administrative role. So that's good that it's been going along well for you, and good that you still hanging in there. So again, I always appreciate you, and so I'm really thankful that we could do this show. So next, I'll ask Rashad Waters, owner and founder of Block Band Music and Publishing. What's going on, man? What you been doing the last 5 years?
All kinds of things, sir. First of all, I don't know if this is going to show up backwards or not, but I think
it looks good.
This phone call has been a part of authoring an incredible book called the HBCU Band Experience. That was awesome. And the book continues to go out there, just letting everybody know what it was like to be in a show style band. So that was fantastic. Let's see here. My trombone section at Hampton, Slide Force, just celebrated 40 years of existence this past year. Wow. And so it's been my goal for several years to bring together multiple trombone players. And so I was able to bring together 19 alumni trombones. Christy was there, actually, videotaping, yelling, hyping me up. Because it was Hampton versus A&T that day. So that was a fantastic thing here. During COVID, the male chorus that I'm the director of, we stopped having anniversaries after church, so we brought that back this year, and that was a lot of work, trying to get that in and trying to get people to come out, but it was a lot of fun. It would turn out to be a great event. Block Band is continuing to thrive. I hired a president, somebody who's been with my staff for almost 10 years. So he is running the day-to-days while I'm out there, talking to the band directors, trying to see what they need. So it's been fantastic continuing to grow our organization. We look forward to continue to make a difference in the lives of band directors and young people they serve. And beyond that, man, I've been fighting for my life. So let's see here. 3 years ago, I was diagnosed with prostate cancer and diabetes simultaneously, just about. So that has been a lot, trying to make sure that I'm getting my body together. I ended up moving to Jacksonville, Florida for a few months last year. And I went proton therapy. So let me just put out this PSA here. If you have any men in your life at all, first of all, make sure they get tested, because there are no symptoms for prostate cancer. You can have it and you will never know. Secondly, the University of Florida Proton Therapy Institute is a great place to go, because I underwent a procedure for 8 weeks that was no pain. I didn't lose my hair. I never got sick. I got a job while I was down there. I mean, it was just, 15 minutes to an hour, pretty much every weekday. And I'm here. I'm still here, with us, and I'm in really good health. They're still monitoring me, but I'm a whole lot better than I was. And then I also have had some fantastic nutritionists that have helped me get diabetes together. So I've been able to lose some weight, So life is good, man. Life is fantastic.
Good, man. Let me go ahead and give you a round of applause. You definitely were in my prayers, man, when I think I called you, and I think Bridget told me, or Chrissy told me, someone told me about it, and so I remember I called you immediately, and you honestly, you've always been in good spirits, man. You were like, oh, no big deal. Yep, I'll be fine, And I was like, all right, man. So that's what's up. And so, yeah, man. And I know that as we're getting older, that's a really good note for the folks out there. We're getting older. All of our people in our era, we're in our 40s now, and it's important to keep that health in check. I'm having to change, make some lifestyle changes myself as well, especially with eating and the diet and all of that. So I definitely know what it is. I'm actually reading labels now, which is crazy. I'm making sure nothing has like added sugar in it, or it's a whole bunch of stuff I'm doing that I didn't used to do. So I'm glad you're still here, Rashad. I always appreciate you as well. And for the listeners, I know, or viewers, I know that you said that you might be doing some prunalysis in the future as well. So, I'm game. I'm on board for that. Looking forward to continuing to work with you, and I appreciate you as well, man. So I really thank you for everything that you've done, especially with the network. The three of you guys really add the substance to this show and what we're talking about. So, again, I'm really appreciative for you, Rashad. And then last but not least, I do want to say really quick. So when I started doing this podcast, what I did was I tried to look for anything band related. And the only thing I found was the Fifth Quarter podcast. Okay. And so I already knew about the Fifth Quarter. It had spread, like people were like, because, this was still kind of new with the internet with all of us. And they were like, oh, man, you can go on the Fifth Quarter, blah, 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 blah. And so later on, I'm like, in my office thinking about, okay, I might do something like this, blah, blah, blah. And I find the Fifth Quarter podcast. And so I listened to all the episodes, and I found out about this person named Christy Walker. So I was like, oh, okay. She seems cool or whatever. And so I was like, I wonder if I could reach out. And so I remember I put a post on the Fifth Quarter, like trying to find Christy or something. And I don't know about the FAMU people. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they immediately started attacking me then. Like, what you doing? Like, I'm like, well, damn, what's wrong with the FAMU people? So,
all right.
Yeah, they crazy, man. Like, I don't know what it is about fam, but I mean, that's another story. Okay. So then after that, I started putting my stuff together and finding a website and doing all this stuff, and still could not get a hold of Christy Walker. I met this girl, Christine Katzman, who is the editor at Halftime Magazine. And so I interviewed her for the show. And then I said, hey, do you know about Christy Walker? She's like, oh, the fifth quarter. She's like, oh, yeah, I know about them. She's really nice. And I was like, damn. Like, why? What is so, like, so I don't even know how I got a hold of Christy. But ever since then, she's been cool. I don't know what was going on. I think she had her people from the Secret Service checking me out and making sure I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, I wasn't crazy or anything. But
Right.
I'm glad that I've finally been able to reach out to Christy. Christy's birthday is the day that I started this podcast, on September 11th. So really glad that she's a part of this. Definitely as the coup de grace, if you will, to the show. So I like telling that story because I just thought it was just a basic, oh, HBCU, hey, I'm reaching out, you know. It wasn't like that. I think it was like a year I was trying to find Christy. So without further ado, Christy Walker, what have you been doing the last 5 years?
Well, first I want to say thank you for sharing that story, Joe, because I knew about it, but it kind of slipped my mind. So it was good to hear that again. And I'm glad we are friends. So if you go back to 2019, and I'll just start at the beginning of like January 2019, I had just finished, I just completed my doctorate. I defended in November of 2018. And in 2019, myself, along with Mike Lee, we decided to close the fifth quarter. So the fifth quarter had been around for exactly 20 years to the day. So on January 19th, 2019, after that day, we shut down the site. Mike and I, we still are close. We keep in contact all the time. We actually live in the same city. He's, run for public office and is a WAN in public office. And I think now he's a county commissioner where we live. And yeah, so, Mike and I still keep in touch. We're still great. And that's family. So we closed the website on good terms, and then let's see what happens. So really 2019 was me just getting used to not having to be in school anymore, which for a doctor, it takes an adjustment. It's a big adjustment period. So later in 2019, I became an honorary member of Tau Beta Sigma. So I was made an honorary by the national chapter of Tau Beta Sigma in April. Yes. so Bridget is my soror. Yay. And let's see what else has been going on. I ran a marathon that year. I was still working at the community college, and then we're gonna forward a little bit until the pandemic. It had us all on shutdown. And unfortunately, in 2021, my father passed away. He had dementia, and my father, that was my BFF. For real. So, that was a big loss in my life and in my family's life. And so just kind of getting through that. Also, Rashad kind of stole my thunder a little bit, but in 2020, was it 2020 or 2021? The years start to run together a little bit.
Right.
So sorry.
I was saying, right. I was co-signing. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So I was contacted about becoming the lead author of the HBCU Experience HBCU Band Alumni Edition, which is an anthology of stories of people use, and they tell their stories and they talk about how being a student at HBCU helped to make who they are today. And so the creator of the series, Ashley Little, she contacted me and said, okay, I want to do a version of the anthology where we talked to HBCU band alumni. And so as lead author, you know, it was my role to gather up people who could write and contribute to this book. And everybody here on this call made it into the first edition, which is great. You can get it on Amazon. And, you know, throughout the few years, now there are actually 3 band alumni editions. So there's a volume 1, volume 2, and volume 3. So, I mean, we've got like probably close to 100 band alumni that have shared their stories about how marching and HBCU band made them who they are today. They're all in those versions. But if you want to get the one with the 4 of us, that's the first edition. And I think Ernest is in that one too. Yes, Ernest Stackhouse, he's in that one too. So, you know, you may want to pick that up. And so that was a big thing. And then just, you know, getting used to this postdoctoral life. I said that, you know, when we started to be back outside again after COVID, and then, you know, getting through my dad's passing away, and all of these things just added up to me just trying to do things to enjoy my life and live my life a little bit more. So, you know, just getting reacclimated with friends, and, you know, building on relationships. Even Bridget and I took a trip to Florida a couple of years ago. We had a ball, you know, and yeah, that's what I'm doing. I've switched jobs a couple times since then, but now I'm working at a national nonprofit that provides free training, free certifications, free tech training for those from underrepresented populations in tech. So I work with 18 to 26-year-olds, helping them to get free tech training, and then also military affiliated folks, so active duty and veterans, and then those of all ages, and then active duty and veteran spouses of all ages. So yeah, it's been good. You know, I can't complain. Yeah, life's good. I just want to, you know, be happy and enjoy my friends and enjoy my family. And yeah, that's what's been up. Oh, I'm still a band head. Let's be clear on that. I'm always gonna be a band head. So, you know, I've been following, oh yeah, there was one more thing I forgot. I forgot my podcast. So Joe talked about earlier how there was a 5th Quarter podcast. And so I knew when we closed the site that I still wanted to be involved in band in some kind of way. And so I basically revived the 5th Quarter podcast, but I kind of changed the format. And so we have a new podcast. It's called The HBCU Band Experience with Christy Walker. And what I do is I interview HBCU band alumni, you know, person by person, and I talk about their stories. I give them the opportunity to share their stories and how they got to where they are, and, you know, what their band experience was like. So you can find the podcast on, you know, Apple Podcasts, Google, you know, Spotify, any of the, you know, big podcast funnel places, distributors. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun. We have 35 episodes or so, and then we're going to start up a new season pretty soon. So yeah, that's me.
All right, let me give you a round of applause. So that's really exciting, Christy. And again, congratulations with you and your doctor. So we got 2 doctors now. So that's really exciting. And
my name is Derek, and my middle name is Rashad. So I've been DR since birth. So, you know.
Oh, okay. That's what's up, man. That's what's up. Thank you for letting us know. Let me add the little comedy feel in there. So I really appreciate you, Christy, as well. I'm glad we're friends. Christy. So I got another quick story about Christy. I am in Charlotte. Visited my mom's, and I was really excited to do that because it was my first time. I was in Charlotte 2011, and my daughter was like 1, so she don't remember it. But I was happy that I was able to go back to Charlotte with my family because, I mean, coming from California, going back east is crazy. So I was able to do that. We on the plane, or we at the airport, and we actually about to get on the plane. And so, most folks turn their phone off or they put it in airplane mode. I was just about to turn my phone off because they were like, oh, so-and-so back to California, we're about to, get ready and board the plane. And my phone goes off, and it's Christy Walker. And I was like, what? I was like, what's Christy? What's what I'm saying? So I answered the phone, and she was like, Joe. I was like, what's up, Christy? Oh, I said, what's up, Reverend Doctor? I had to make sure I, gave her props. And she was like, so I got something to tell you. And I was like, what? And she said, the Honda is going to be in L.A. And I was like, yeah, quit playing. I was like, yeah, no, it's not. And so she was like, no, I'm serious. It's going to be in Inglewood at SoFi Stadium on February 1st. Now, mind you, Christy knows stuff because, she connected. So she knows stuff ahead of time. And I was like trying to process it because it was like, are you sure? Like, that's far? So I was really in my mind like tripping. And so then I got excited because I was like, okay, I know now that I'm going to be able to see y'all. And so I want to do something. So my mind started spinning. I was like, I want to have like some type of meet and greet or something. You know what I'm saying? So I got really excited. And then I think like a couple days later, I started seeing it like on social media. So that was really, really exciting.
You were acting too calm, Joe. That's what got me. I was like, wait a minute, I know. But then you told me, you're like, I'm in the airport. I don't want to be on the no-fly list.
Right. I was trying to be cool because that's my thing in public.
How can I get out of it?
What you say, Rashad?
How can I get out of this one?
Yeah. Right. So I was like, wow, that's cool. But yeah, I do try to be cool in public, which is, something I'm working through where, that's a mask that I put on. But yeah, I was like, yeah.
But let me tell you, Joe, I remember, okay, it's like it took you a minute. So, you flew back home or whatever. And then you called me again. You were like, Christy, I can't believe it.
Yep. I was really excited. So then that's when I thought in my mind, I was like, yeah, let me call her back and like give her like, my real reaction. And what's funny is I thought about Bridget. So then I text Bridget. I can't remember. I might have texted Bridget before, like when I was on the plane or when I got off, but it was soon like after you told me. And I thought about Bridget, with the calculations and stuff. And I was like, how is it going to be out here? Is it going to be a lot of people or like, is it going to be a success and all that? And then I talked to Bridget and she was breaking down the analytics because that's how I met Bridget. For the people that don't know how I met Bridget was on the show. She got in the chat and we were talking something about Bethune-Cookman. And, Bethune-Cookman is a good band, but their school, it's not like they got, 9,000 people are there. And she was talking in the chat about scholarships.
Yep, the scholarship budget.
Right. She was like, okay, you paying for people to go to your school, but you need it. So she would break it down in the chat. I was like, damn. And so then I reached out to her and I was like, cause she's got the, she's got the fire as far as the takes and all of that stuff like that. And then I found out she cooks and does a cater. I was like, okay, so I definitely got to make my connection with Bridget. And now she's on the show now. So yeah, I appreciate it. But let me give you a round of applause. I'm still working through my new setup here. So I'm giving you the round of applause. And shout out to Ernest too. I know he could be on the show. But he had something come up for him. But Ernest was cool too. I'm trying to remember. I have an idea how I met Ernest. From Block Us Up. So Ernest is a writer, and he started writing about how to identify a winner at a black college, like at a halftime show. And he had a little score. You guys go on and look up blockusup.com. And I really appreciated that because it seems like not a lot of people are writing nowadays. You know what I mean? Like we don't have the writer where people go out and actually reading something. So much stuff is like video or like a quick caption or something. He's actually writing stuff out. So it was cool. And then he came on the show as well. And then him and Rashad both sponsored the show. So they helped me out with, taking care of the bills and all the stuff that we have to do the show. So I'm real appreciative to all y'all. Y'all are family. And so, I'm always going to do anything to support everything that you guys are doing with the show and even outside the show. For me, 2019, my kids are just getting older. That's the main thing. I moved into a different place. So that was a little bit too about as far as like if I'm going to keep doing the show, but we moved. We got out of where we are. We moved like maybe about 1.5 miles down the street from where we used to stay. But it's a better place, so I'm thankful for that. I got sober in 2020, and I don't want to get too thanks. So I don't want to get too much into that conversation. But I can tell you when you get sober, you got like money. Even if you, man, let me tell you. So, and a lot of things has opened up from that. You know what I'm saying? So, especially like me going to Charlotte.
Know why Joe be at the Honda because he'd be like, oh, I think they're gonna have drinks there. I can't do.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Joe, I know you said you don't want to get into it, but one day you have to tell your story because that's a phenomenal story that somebody else can be used to really probably bless and really be a blessing to someone else. So you definitely want to tell your story, but in line with what you're saying with more money. So y'all know my dad's a pastor and he says it all the time. He's like, he talked about tithing, of course, because that's how we support, our churches or whatever. And so he always says that you tithe to somebody, like your money's going, if you're not tithing to God, you're going to tithe. Some people are tithing to alcohol, to their addictions, to food or whatever. Like your money's going somewhere. He says it's amazing when you let go of some other things, how much money you have. So you're just reaffirming what my dad says and teaches to our ministry all the time, that, when you give up, like for instance, I went on this weight loss journey, and on the weight loss journey, I was like, oh, you know what? I got a couple more dollars because I'm not buying every meal out and this, that, and the other. But when your money gonna go to somewhere. So we are proud of you. So I want to pause for a second to give you some hearts, because when I tell you we are proud of you, we know the struggle that you had, and it's a huge deal. We're so excited and so proud of you. And that's what this has to be about as well, like celebrating. Sometimes there are losses, but we're going to celebrate wins, and that's a huge win.
Well, I appreciate that, Bridget. I actually talked to all of y'all about it. So, I appreciate that. It's definitely an interesting story. Let me tell you, because I've kind of shared it. I've been in some groups now and shared the story, and I've heard some people, but people were like, damn, like. And so, I've even shared, I don't know if because I did an interview with Christy on her podcast. So I don't know if I talked about what happened at Hampton, but that's another thing. I'll tell the Hampton story.
You touched on it. You touched on it, but you didn't like go into super detail. But anyway.
But y'all know, I'll have to tell it. But for the people listening, if you don't know it, Hampton is zero tolerance. And they don't play with nothing. So even if you smell funny, they gonna kick you out. And that's basically So Hampton's off the hook with all of that. But I appreciate that, y'all. That's a good word that you tied to something. So that was another thing. I was able to go and see my mom's, because she used to come out here every year. And then when COVID hit and everything, she was like cool on the traveling and being around people. So last year, or this year in March, we were able to go out there and hang out with her. And she had a good time, man. She had pictures of the grandkids all over the place. Like they was everywhere. They was on the refrigerator. They was on the stand. In the hallway. They was everywhere. So my mom, I see how people talk about grandkids. So that's something. But yeah, other than that, my kids are they're getting older. They're into sports. My son was he's actually playing my trumpet, and he got asked to go to the honors band here in San Bernardino County.
That's
And
all right, right?
Yeah, he's excited. But then he was like, Dad, I really want to do sports. I'm not really into bands. And I was like, okay, I didn't want to force him. But it made me think, too, that out here in California, you don't have that same HBCU experience. It's not. So I show him stuff, and he's like, oh, that's cool. My daughter says, oh, that's cool. But, like, they all about sports now. So he retired playing the trumpet. He's all about baseball and football right now. So he's doing that. And my daughter, she's running track. She's a really good soccer player. She'll start high school in the fall, so she's looking forward to playing high school soccer. And she also plays softball. So they like sports. Sports is pretty big out here, as you can imagine. So they're doing that. And other than that, yeah, that's been pretty much what's up with me. I'm still teaching, but now I teach at 3 schools. I was just teaching at one to help pay for my kids' daycare. But then I fell in love with the money, so I stayed. And then when COVID hit, everybody went online. People were online and all of that. So the community college district here in California, in the state of California, they came up with this distance education certification. So all the teachers have to, if you're going to teach online, you need to do like these 50 to 60 hours of certification to be certified, and then you can teach online. So I jumped on that at the school I was at, and so now I'm for all the people that know, we use Canvas, because I think Canvas is nationwide. A lot of folks use it. So we use Canvas, and then I'm uploading all my stuff through Canvas. I can make videos and all of this stuff, so people, so they feel connected. And I was like, you know what, I could do this and make some more money. So I reached out, and I got picked up by 2 more schools. So I'm teaching asynchronously, as they call it, at 3 total schools to help supplement my income, because it's expensive out here in California. It's like the worst. But other than that, I like California. Other than being so far from y'all and my family and like black colleges and stuff like that. But with this, that's why I was so excited about the Honda. I'm going to be able to finally bring something to my family for them to see. Even with Jackson State coming out here for the Rose Bowl, it's exciting, for them to actually see it live and in person, like how I grew up, you know what I mean? Or how we all grew up, essentially. So that's been up with me. I'll give all of us here a round of applause here. So that's what all we've been doing, catching up. I do want to say shout out to the people in the chat room. Lamik's videos. He said he's glad that we're back, so shout out to him. And
good life fans from him. Matter of fact, I learned about a lot of the high schools that are out there from his videos.
Okay. Yeah, and he also sponsored the show as well. He also gave me a T-shirt. I'm gonna wear it on my next show. So shout out to Lamik. And the Edge, the great Garrett Etchison. Man, let me give you a round of applause here.
Hey, Garrett.
Can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Those past 2 people, Malik and Edge, both of them are Sky Phi Box.
Really?
Really?
Okay. Okay. So, and it's crazy how our network is. It seems like if I meet someone new, then it's like everybody know about them already. Like everybody, like, oh yeah, you know so. So Lamik's, I know he reached out to me and so and sent me the shirt and everything, and so he had a video. And then I was playing the commercial for his videos, and it was dope. He had a dope commercial he had put together. And then Edge, that's again, I met him at the beginning. He had a video of Southern playing something, and I was like, wow, that's really dope. So I reached out to him, and well, in fact, with him, I want to say he's a computer science major. I know he does something, or he did something technical. But when he was getting going, I put him on the domain for the marchingpodcast.com. I put him on the domain, and he developed his own website. So his first website was under the Marching Podcast domain. And then he had put it together really, really nice. And then I think Southern brought him in as like the public, the PR guy or the media guy. And then from there, he got his own, he didn't need my stuff anymore. So, so shout out to him. I chopped it up with him. He had a really good story because he talked about Katrina and going to high school in Arizona or something like that. Something crazy. I was like, damn. And so that was really cool talking to him. And so now he's going around at baseball stadiums, taking pictures at baseball stadium. You got to go to St. Louis, though, man. That's the realest baseball team ever. But also Pittsburgh has a nice stadium, too. So shout out to Garrett.
And Baltimore. Got to come to Camden Yards. Let us know when Garrett, let us know when you come this way.
That's right, the O's. Go check out the O's. And shout out to Doc Smith. Doc Smith, when I first started putting my new equipment together, I accidentally was streaming live. And I was like, yeah. And so he actually got on here and was like helping me out. He was like, the sound is off and all that stuff like that. So shout out to him. I'm going to be chopping up to him. And then, of course, my mom's. I knew my mom's was probably going to check in. And so thank you. Thanks for everything, moms. Because I definitely, I was off the hook. So I appreciate your moms.
I bet you were. Shout out to your mom.
Yes.
I tell you.
Yeah, let me go ahead. Let me give her a round of applause. And she went to Spelman too. So, whoo, you know what I'm saying? You can't be messing around with them Spelman women. You know what I'm saying? Especially their children. Man, that's something else. Okay. So, moving forward, you guys did let me know that there's a season. I was so excited about the Honda. I would just kind of fast forward the season. But I do want to ask you guys, because I don't want to hold you too long on our first day. There are some things coming up here for this band season. And I know we'll work together as far as how we'll be on the air and all this stuff like that. I do want to give you guys props again, because you might not know it, but for multiple years, I think at least 3 or 4, we did 15 episodes every season. Mm-hmm. And that was week to week, back to back. So with all of us and everything we got going on, I appreciate you guys. And then we were watching videos. That was like another job. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot. And then Rashad was doing the prunalysis. I remember one time, so a real quick story about Bridget real quick. At the end of the year, you guys know we got it's usually the conference championships. So we would maybe talk about the CI championship or something like that. Well, one episode was the national championship was on, and Alabama was on. And I'm halfway thinking it was when we were at NBC Sports, when I was at that radio station. And Bridget was like, yeah, I'll do it, but the game is on. And everybody else was busy. Because that time, you think about it, that's like December or
January.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's like that vacation time. And so Bridget was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so I was like, I appreciate that, Bridget. And then when you see the pictures of Bridget, she would be talking, and then she would be looking up at the game.
Yep.
She was like, oh, yeah. And so, if it was a little break, you could hear her or something. And so then I remember driving home. I was like, I appreciate that, Bridget, because I know that I know you love Bama, and you was into the game, but you still did it. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. We love it. We love it. So what you got for us band wise tonight? Because we don't have what we got? We have a little while to go. What we talking band tonight?
Um,
Joe, what you got? What you
so
want to talk? What you want to know?
that is a good question. So other than the Honda and Jackson State going to the Rose Bowl, I didn't have anything. I didn't have any discussion. Y'all started bringing up other stuff. I do know something is going on in Houston, and that's been pretty consistent the last couple of years. That seems to be like a thing where I guess people should start planning to go to Houston in August every year.
I think most of us have been, the band world has been planning to go. Joe, we gotta get you on
Yeah,
it.
because you.
Yeah, Christy, jump on in here with us. But I would dare say the national battle of the band probably is the staple. What Honda was at one point for most of us, I think consistently the national battle of the bands. And I guess Christy and Rashad can agree or just kind of chime in. I think that's the staple event for bands now. I am kind of a fan of it. I missed it last year. Was there the year before. I'm a fan of it. It's preseason. That's the only thing. It's a little early, so it's the first event of the season. But I like it because it's been very consistent. They've been very transparent on how they select bands. I like it because it's a stadium, but it's also outdoors. I am not a fan of these indoor battle of the bands. I'm telling you, the acoustics and the vibration, the sound, I'm not a fan. But I think it's been really, that's the one that I think has been getting the most traction, and it's been super, super consistent. Christy, do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It is a very quality production that is put on by, I think it's Weber Entertainment, or the Weber company that puts that together. It's just quality. It kind of runs like a well-oiled machine. They have events leading up to it. They have like different showcases, and then a not job fair, but a college fair the morning of, and it's very well done. I have been almost every year. Unfortunately, I'm not making it this year. I'm taking a break from it. But I know Bridget will be there to hold it down. I know. You give me the thumbs down. I know, sis. we got to get this together. We got to get this together. It is a fun time. I'm saving my money for California. So that's what I'm doing. And I want to do a lot of traveling next year because it's a big year for me. So yeah.
Yeah, I think, Christy, I'm agreeing with you. I think it's a well put together event. It's been consistent that's the event that moved from Charlotte. It was originally in Charlotte. I think they always do a nice balance of bands that come and attend. It's well attended. It's going to be interesting. So, I'm going to kind of jump a little bit because since you mentioned Honda, I haven't been a fan of Honda for quite some time now. You guys know I'm going to shoot straight from the hip. I have not been a fan of Honda because I don't feel like they were transparent from the beginning in their intentions. I don't feel like it was a balanced process of how they selected bands and the people who attended and blah, 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 on and on and on and on and on. So with all the stuff that's happened with the Honda Corporation, and they've made buku money off of our bands, buku, that little pocket change they give bands in the long run, it's just compared to what they've made. It's going to be interesting to see the shift. So when they split, I think it was brothers that split out of the company or whatever that happened with Christy. Is that what happened with the Honda people?
Yeah, I think it was 1 year the Honda hires this company to do the logistics, and a person from that company kind of split off from it and did his own thing for a year. But again, it was a fine enough event, but it wasn't consistent because it only happened 1 year. And you can tell when an event is put together where people are doing it kind of like for the love of the game, and then for people who are doing it just for money. And that was just focused straight on money. I will tell you, as somebody that has lived on the East Coast her whole life, yes, I went to that one in Atlanta, and it was fine enough. But you know, you can kind of tell when events are in, you know, for the love of the game and for not. And I feel like the National Battle of Bands, it's a really good one. I wish it stayed in Charlotte, but that's for personal reasons because I live in state. So yeah, it's a good event.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how well Honda does now. That's a whole you talk about my breakdowns, Joe. That's a whole nother breakdown. I think I kind of burnt Christy ear up like immediately when I heard it. I've pretty much called who I thought would be going and did a whole logistical breakdown. Financially, it's gonna be interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off, Joe. Go ahead.
No. I was actually just kind of piggybacking on the things that y'all said. But
I tell you that I want to go to the Honda in California. Really, it's more for not. I don't want to say it's more for California. I haven't been to California in 10 years, and so you know I'm due back for a track. Why you know I'm due for another trip there. So like, why not?
yeah, I'm excited about meeting you guys in person, but I'm excited about meeting a lot of people in person. I think that when Honda did that float, if you will, and the bands that were in the Honda Ballad of Bands, that's when I met Brother Snipes, Professor Snipes, shout out to you. I met him in person. I met Pedro, I believe his name was Pedro. He was the drum instructor at Bethune-Cookman. He's from Mississippi. I met him, and then I met my frat brother, Mr. Carlton Wright. What's up, dog? I met him, and it was a really good experience sitting down at the table talking to them, and kind of hearing their experiences like about things so far, and then watching the student. I met a couple of the students, you know, shaking hands with them and everything. So that was cool, and I was like, man, I wish this happened more often. So some other bands have come out for the Rose Bowl, but it's really interesting how that kind of works with them. And then like I didn't know some of the people. I think Tennessee State or somebody came out here, and I didn't know how to get a hold of the director, and so I just wasn't able to go. So I'm excited about it. There is a African American history museum in the basement of Sofia. So hopefully a lot of people, it's really nice. So hopefully a lot of people, when they come out there, they'll be able to go to that. And I'm looking for something in the area to have something for you guys. I would really like to do that. But all of the alumni associations, especially Southern, because I mean, you know how Southern people are. Their alumni association in LA is really big, and they are like super excited. So with anything, I'll probably be reaching out to them. But it's going to be interesting how it plays out, because there have been a lot of people out here like me and other directors. Mr. Hutchinson, he went to Grambling, and I think he's still out there at Crenshaw High School, or one of the schools south of the 101. I'm not sure, but there have been so many people have tried to do something like this, and with the money and with everything, it just hasn't worked out well. So I'm hoping that this turns out to be a really good thing, and hopefully actually it works so that they'll come back again.
Hope they lower the price of them tickets. So that's going to be the number one thing.
Yeah.
You talking about $100 for a regular ticket? That's asking, particularly in a market that doesn't have that type of thing. That's asking a lot.
It is.
So, that's been my whole thing with this Honda. Here we go. Since you tapped on that door, let me go ahead and kick it on in. So, I don't know how many of you have done any of the games. I don't know, Joe, if you've ever done any of the games when they host the HBCU. They've been trying to get an HBCU presence in California for some time.
Yeah, they had the Angel Classic. Just really quick, there was the Angel Classic, and they would have a game out here. But it fell off.
it's been happening so long. They've been trying to push this, to get to because there aren't any HBCUs out there, right? So I remember in '97 they invited Morgan and Howard out for the Gold Coast Classic. They were doing that for a number of years. I think we were one of the first groups to go, and this whole thing was to fill this stadium. They had to battle the bands or whatever because we're gonna make this HBCU thing pop. For the size of that stadium, it wasn't super well attended. Let me tell you, we bought our 2 planes filled and some other alumni out there. Howard bought some people. Howard had a pretty good alumni presence, but it just didn't get the same because the culture, and so that's the big part of it, the culture isn't there to really understand. It was like, oh, something's happening, but the culture wasn't really there to get it. So you talk about Honda moving out there. So you're talking about these ticket prices. Let me tell you something. So Honda is Honda, right? People who make the cars, they have this whole corporation, and they're doing this thing with bands. Like for some reason, they've been trying to do this things with band. My prediction, this is my personal big, I think this is going to be the total end collapse, this California thing. So here's the thing for me. So you have when the ticket prices came out, I wasn't shocked because why? You got to get these bands out there across. There's no bands that are close by. You got to get these bands across the country out here, and it is expensive to move them on a bus. Let me tell you, Honda barely want to pay for 2 nights in a hotel for the bands when they go to Atlanta, but you got to get the plane, the ground transportation, the food, get them cross country, shipping instruments, blah, 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 blah. Times, how many bands are there going to be? 6 to 8 bands? Christy, what's the number on there? 6 to 8?
So it's gonna be 6 bands, and actually I heard that they are capping the size of the bands that they bring out there. So I don't know what that cap is. Let's say it's a block 196 or something, you never know. So whatever number that is, I just know that they're going to be capping the number of band people going, I guess, because for money reasons.
So they're going to see it right there, right? So you're not going to get the full shebang battle of the bands because the bands aren't probably going to be the size they normally are, but it's not going to be the whatever because they're trying to make this happen. It's a corporation. They're trying to make money, but how do you make money on something that the culture isn't there? It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, but I'm kind of like, I've been side-eyeing this event since then because I'm just like, I don't know how it's going to really whatever. My predictions have been, one, it's going to kick their butts. Fiscally, financially, it's going to kick Honda butt. They don't even know. I don't even think they really have counted the cost of flying all these bands across. So you got that cost. The other part of it is who's going to show up, who's going to attend because of the culture. So when they started, I called Christy when they started talking about selecting band. I was like, oh, let me tell you who they're going to call. The ones who have large alumni presence, have alumni associations. I call Southern. They have an alumni association present there. I call that, and I was like, A&T brings a crowd wherever they go, and there's a presence out there as well. I call some other schools. I will be surprised if FAMU doesn't make the list because they have a presence out there. So who has an alumni presence? There's some names I could kind of call. I'm not going to bust my list down right now, but it's all about that. So the alumni are going to have to be the one to kind of sell this event because otherwise, the culture is not there. That's like having what kind of event here in Maryland? People kind of looking sideways, like, because they don't really get it besides a small pocket. So it's going to be interesting to see. So the tickets are going to be high because they got to pay for the stadium, pay for the bands, and you're trying to get people there. But look, our beautiful people of color, when they start looking at them ticket prices, am I going to pay $100 to go to California, or if I'm going to just go and pay that $20 to go to Houston?
Right.
And it's right after the holidays and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see how this turns out. Now, I don't wish them ill on this, but I think this is going to be a harder push than a lot of people really, really realize. I think it's going to be a hard push.
And I think that's why I think Howard's going. That was my thing. Howard, they've had, some band director changes, and they've had some different struggles, financial struggles in their band program. But I'm thinking the Howard name, and especially if things happen, in November, that a Howard person might be president of the U.S. Maybe, maybe that'll even make it more. I don't know. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would. It'll be
on this. That's what we talked about at Block Band. We typically will go to the Hondas on a regular basis. Block Band is a company where we all are all over the place. I mean, sometimes nationally, sometimes internationally, we meet. And so Honda is a place that we gather every year. And as soon as it came out, oh, Honda is going to be in California. Oh, that's cool. The ticket's going to be $100. Maybe we should consider this National Battle of Bands thing. I mean, that was immediately the next conversation. And so we'll be planning to attend the very first our very first National Battle of Bands in Houston because of the ticket price. Now, I personally will look into Honda for myself, but as an organization, yeah. So just like Bridget said, I wish Honda all the success because, I mean, they didn't have to do this at all,
Right.
So I appreciate them doing what they've done. However, I do think maybe some evaluation. It sounds to me like they need to pick up these women here, Bridget and Christy, and make sure that they are a part of their team because not only do they know people, but also looking at those logistics. I mean, I think knowing, having people that are in touch with the culture and also in touch with the understanding of the monies and things like that, I think would be very wise for them to do that.
Yeah, and I want to say they thought about all of this, and they have been in contact with some people who have, because I mean this has been years that people have been trying to do this, and you're right. It's been the alumni associations. Howard is big here, so I live an hour from LA, and I saw a girl. I met a girl at the grocery store from Howard, and she was Howard down. She had it on her car. She had a Howard jumpsuit on, and I was like, "What are you doing in Redlands, California?" Whatever. But she got a job, and she moved out here. She was from Michigan somewhere, I believe. Yeah, Michigan. She was from Grand Rapids, and she moved out here. I met a guy from Jackson State that had just moved out here as well. Got a job in San Bernardino, which is the major town over. So it's way more HBCU graduates out here in California than people know. But yeah, the alumni associations, it's going to be huge, and we're going to need everybody from the whole state because like the San Francisco chapters or the San Jose, all of those chapters is different. You know what I'm saying, up there. So hopefully, things. I'm excited just to see everybody, but yeah, I hope that it turns out to be something positive where, maybe they come back. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want this to be like a one-time thing, and then like we don't have anything like out here anymore. Because we out here, but California is just so big. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how it turns out. Let me see. So I also see here they talked about September 1st is the Charlotte Labor Day Battle of the Bands. Now you said that this one in Houston used to be in Charlotte, but Charlotte is starting, I guess, a new one on their own. And I saw the pub for it. It's supposed to be like a whole weekend type of thing. Are you guys planning to go to that? Or Christian, I guess you probably are.
Yeah, I'm going to that. And so the Weber folks that do the National Battle of the Bands that's now in Houston used to hold one in Charlotte in Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, which, by the way, I really like the acoustics of that stadium. That's partly why I wanted it to be Charlotte. It's for my personal reasons. But anyway, some other folks have put together a Labor Day Battle of the Bands. I think this is their second annual event. And, I'm looking forward to that. I mean, because like I said, it's convenience for me. I'm in the state. And, it's on the Sunday before Labor Day. So I think it's September the 1st.
Yeah.
Or maybe
September 1st.
September the 1st. Yes. Mm-hmm. So that's when that's going to be. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to, seeing those bands get, that's going to start off my season. It's going to be all good.
Well, that's what's up, y'all. So I know some other things are coming up this year. We do know about our normal schedule is coming up. We kind of touch base on, I guess, the things like the Battle of the Bands coming up, Jackson State at the Rose Bowl, and then the Honda out here. And we'll see how, the battles for the weekend will go. If there's another conversation that we may have, we can, I'll reach out to you guys and we can talk about that. And then, we'll be on for Sunday at 6:00 if that works out for you guys. And, we'll keep this thing going along. Shout out to Jerry Arterberry, the bruh from a chapter. He's a tax guy, and he was like, haven't you registered the Marcher Podcast as a business? And I said, yeah. And he was like, well, what I'm saying, maybe, we can do something to help you out with your taxes. Cause they be getting us on our taxes out here, man. I mean, it's expensive enough, but the taxes too. So he helped me out with my taxes to kind of keep this thing going. So shout out to you, dog. But he was like, you gotta keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, okay. So that gave me some motivation. So I'm happy to, cause I think, I text you guys like last year. It was 23 something, and I was like at one of my kids' soccer practice, and I was like, I think, we should try to do the show again or something. And y'all were like, yeah, we can do it. Like, you got to let us know. And that was like a year ago. So, I'm glad that you guys are still around, glad that everybody's healthy and moving in good directions, promotions, advances in education, some of everything. It's just really excited to be talking to you guys again. So let me give y'all another round of applause. And so I guess we can kind of wrap it up here. And then I guess, with more to talk about, more things coming up, we'll continue to do that. I will say this. There's been a whole lot of people now doing this, like podcasts and shows. And it's cool to see, because now I can watch somebody else or listen to what they say. I guess I do. You know what? We kind of talked about the evolution. Well, shout out to the Rogers brothers. Shout out to them. They've always been cool. And shout out to the Show Style guys. I actually got Travis on my place. He's one of my PlayStation friends, and he's like one of the silly ones, if you guys know Travis. And so I see him on there. So all of them are still doing pretty good. So shout out to them, because we're all a family. We all do this to try to promote the craft, and so it's cool to see them. I will ask you guys something real quick, and then we'll close. The evolution now of the mass bands over the summer. It's like really.
It's gonna take another hour. Another hour.
I know. Okay, so yeah, we'll hold off on that, because we kind of were having a discussion. We weren't live or talking about it, but people don't like it. Some people do like it. So I don't know, but I know it's huge now. I think Ohio's got a mass band, and I wouldn't think Ohio. I don't know. I wasn't expecting Ohio to have that, but
New Jersey just started a mass band last week.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Who was that?
New Jersey, Mario. What's that?
Did you say New Jersey?
New Jersey. Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that the one that Kendrick Taylor and Chancellor Mills was that one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
And Dr. Jones at Hampton was there as well.
Wow. So that's about to spread up. So that's probably definitely a conversation. But yeah, if I start, that's gonna open something else. Okay. All right. So we come to the end of the show, and again, let me give you guys a round of applause. My sounds and all that are a little slow. I gotta reorganize how I do the sounds and all of that. But if we blow up sometime, I might have somebody doing all of this for me, and then we'll just be talking and stuff go on its own. But that's in the future. So I'll go in the same order we started with. Bridget, you have anything to say before we sign off?
Thank you for getting us back together. Thank you for those who listened and tuned in. It's been nice to do a quick catch up and to kind of get back into the flow. We hope that you join us again. Thank you, Joe, for pulling us all back into the 90-degree show. It's been awesome. Great to see you again, Christy and Rashad and all those out there in social media. Have an amazing week, everybody.
Thanks, Bridget. Rashad, anything to say before we end?
I think back on what Bridget said. Thank you so much for bringing us back, man. I definitely missed it. And I'll say everybody out there, just make sure you go after your dreams. Don't let anything hold you back. But while you're doing so, make sure that you are maintaining your health. Get your exercise, eat right, and make sure that you go see the doctor.
Yeah, man, that's definitely huge. I had to definitely change my diet. And so, and like the guy said, it's a lifestyle change. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, you gotta be careful with what you're doing. And Christy, anything to say before we sign off?
Well, it's been great seeing you all, and yeah, it's funny. I feel like we have really good chemistry together, and to add Ernest to that too. And so I'm just looking forward to the season, and I hope everybody takes care, hydrates because it's hot out here.
Yes,
and yeah, just be safe because this world is getting crazier by the day. Like how the elders would tell you, we're living in our last days. And when they would say that, I would like shrug, like, okay, whatever. I feel like we are living in our last days. Like I should have listened to them more, So but yeah, stay safe out there.
Okay. Thanks again. I'm going to give you guys another round of applause. I always got to find it here. So this was cool. I want to say again, thank you. I really appreciate you guys. When I started doing this, it was just me talking by myself. And I thought that was cool, but I was like, man, I really want to talk to somebody. And then I think it was Rashad was first on the show.
Yeah, I think we were looking. Black Band was looking for partnerships, and so we found the Marching Podcast, and so and went from there.
Yeah, and then he was like, I'm prune juice on the fifth quarter. So I was like, oh, okay. So then Rashad was, and for folks who don't know, Rashad was writing out his prunalysis on his posts. So you had a little article there about stuff, and it was cool. And shout out to all the people that were on the fifth quarter, that forum. That really opened the door for like a lot of stuff. And I think a whole lot of people that not only watch this show, but now it's like their kids are in bands or like going to like bands and all that stuff, which is crazy to me, as like time is moving on. So
how do you think I feel?
I know, and that's crazy. And I plan to reach out to Mike to chop it up with him on the show. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. And it's so funny when Bridget started breaking down like all of the stuff about the Honda. That's how I met Bridget. That's how I met Bridget. She was in the chat talking about Bethune. I mean, that's how I met Bridget, so it's really cool. I do think we have good chemistry as well. But also, we all went to school and, we all are out here doing positive things and working. So I think that's overall what I really wanted for the network. I wanted us to put something out, but also bring HBCUs to a next level. But also, too, it's just the vision of positive educational folks like ourselves to the world. And then people seeing that, because I think definitely what you see is what you get in this world today. And so I really appreciate you guys helping me out. So that's about it. We'll talk about sponsorships and all of that stuff, I may send information about that out. But as you guys still see on the ticker, I'm still rolling with the people that was supporting me before. I do want to say shout out to SAY Marketing and Promotions. That was my frat brother Stuart Young. He passed. He actually passed from complications of COVID, and that was like sad because Stuart was younger, but like that was just totally unexpected. But I remember he was like, "Yeah, man, I would love to sponsor you with the network," and then because he was dealing with like media stuff, he was like, "Your pictures ain't right on your website, dog." He was like, "You need to fix that, dog." Like he played 88 back in Georgia. So yeah, shout out to you, Stuart. Rest in peace, and rest in peace to your family. And so yeah, it's just something I think about him when I think about the sponsorships and everything. So shout out to him. Shout out to the three of you guys, and I know we'll touch base with Ernest. But again, it's the 90 Degree Show Marching Podcast Network. We'll be putting things out there, promoting. Also, go to our merch store. I definitely know what I'm going to start getting you guys for Christmas is merch. So I definitely want to try to start building a revenue with our merch store. Spreadshirt.com is the company I'm using, and they have a lot of different things, a lot of different apparels and shirts and cups and hats, book bags. It's a whole lot of stuff that's really, really cool to help support what we're doing. So you guys, make sure you guys go to our merch store. You can go to themarchingpodcast.com, go to our website, and you can get all of that information in the merch store there. So make sure you buy you something. And I've adjusted the prices so they're not like, like really, really expensive. But again, some of the proceeds will be going to help run the network, but also going to the last part of the show I'll sign off with is our National Signing Day. I want to get that back going. I partnered with Dr. Tamisha Brock and her organization. She started the HBCU Recruitment Center, and she started Prodigious Music Concepts. She started two companies at once. She's now the head band director at Johnson C. Smith University. She's doing an excellent job. And she's also partnered with me to do National Signing Day. So when we pick the students to do National Signing Day and they tell us, we help them out financially with something that they had, whether it's band camp or their supplies that they need for the first year. And so the students are still doing well out here. We've got students now, and now they're about to graduate because that's been like some time ago now. So it's much love. We're actually going in a lot of positive directions. So I really appreciate, again, you guys. Let me give one last round of applause. And I'll sign out for the show. So thanks again, Bridget. Thanks, Rashad. Thanks, Christy. I'll be in touch with you guys throughout the week, and we'll see how we'll turn this thing out. That's all the time we have for today. Check out the website and donate what's in your heart to themarchingpodcast.com. Like us on Facebook, Twitter, follow us everywhere. And always remember, the eye is a better pupil and more willing than the ear. Advice may be misleading, but examples are always clear. See you next time. If I could find the ending. Oh, here it is.
Come on, Mug.
I would say, I guess you was going to refuse to recognize this mug here.
You got the mug? Oh, look at that. Oh, look
And
at
the
this.
hat.
And see, look at that. Here, hold on. Let me get the. Y'all make sure y'all get the merch. And then I tried to close out the show, and then it was the wrong icon. So I'm just gonna have to turn it up, y'all. But again, okay. Thanks for everything.
No problem, buddy. No problem. Yeah, we'll definitely connect to let us to figure out when we can do the next pronouncements.
Sounds good. Y'all take care.
All right. Bye.
Ciao.